Captain Veltar checked his ship's sensors for the third time. The readings had to be wrong. Nothing could be that big and still move through space at such speed. "Sir, the unknown contact is still approaching," his first officer reported. Her voice shook slightly. "Distance, now 2 million kilometers, and closing." Veltar's forearms moved across his control panel. He was a veteran trader who had crossed every known shipping lane in Zephyrian space. He knew every type of ship, every class of vessel that flew between the stars. This thing on his sensors matched nothing in the galactic database. "Size estimate?" he asked, though he dreaded the answer. 15 kilometers long, sir. Maybe more. Our sensors can't get accurate readings on something this massive." The bridge fell silent. Veltar's cargo ship was 300 meters long and considered large for a merchant vessel. The thing approaching them was 50 times bigger. "Weapons?" Veltar whispered. "Unknown configuration. Energy readings are, sir, they're off our measurement scale." Veltar made a decision that would save his crew's lives. Full reverse. Maximum distance from that thing. Send emergency signals to all ships in this sector. The massive vessel appeared on their visual screens as they retreated. It was dark, gray, almost black, with clean lines and no decorative elements. It moved with purpose through space, like a predator hunting prey. Strange markings covered its hull in symbols no one recognized. "Try to contact them," Veltar ordered. The communications officer worked frantically. "No response to standard galactic frequencies, sir." "Wait." Receiving automated transmission. A cold, mechanical voice filled the bridge. "This is UES Titan's Hammer. Do not approach." "This is UES Titan's Hammer. Do not approach." "UES?" Veltar's first officer asked. "What government uses those letters?" Nobody answered, because nobody knew. The giant ship stopped moving. It simply hung in space, like a metal moon, silent and threatening. Veltar's crew watched their sensors show more ships arriving. Word was spreading fast across the galaxy's communication networks. On the capital world of Zephyria Prime, emergency alarms rang through the Galactic Council chambers. Ambassador Thys rushed into the main hall, where representatives from dozens of species gathered in worried groups. "What do we know?" Thys demanded. Ambassador Kor from the Mantis Collective clicked his mandibles nervously. "Unknown vessel. Massive size. Appeared in Zephyrian space 30 minutes ago." "Military?" asked the Aquarian delegate. "Has to be. Nothing else explains that size and those energy readings." Thys accessed the central database. Ships, governments, military forces. She searched everything. The designation, UES, appeared nowhere in galactic records. "Could it be from beyond known space?" someone suggested. "Possible. The outer rim has been quiet for too long." Elder Voss, the ancient leader of the council, entered the chamber. His species lived for thousands of years, and his memory reached back to the galaxy's early days. He moved slowly to his speaking platform. "I have seen the sensor reports," Voss said. His voice carried across the silent chamber. "This vessel is not from any known civilization in our current database." Murmurs of fear spread through the assembly. "However," Voss continued, "the symbols on its hull, I have seen them before, long ago." Every representative leaned forward. The markings spell words in an old language. Earth, human. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Some species had never heard of humans. Others remembered them as the strange species that had lived on a dangerous world called Earth. "Humans left galactic space 2 centuries ago," Ambassador Kor said. "They were barely civilized. Their world was classified as a death planet. No advanced species could survive there. They had primitive technology," another delegate added. "Chemical rockets. Simple computers. They couldn't build something like this." Elder Voss raised one aged hand for silence. "Perhaps they learned much during their absence." On his merchant ship, Captain Veltar continued watching the massive human vessel. Military scouts, research vessels, and newscraft all maintained careful distance from the giant warship. "Sir, receiving priority transmission from Zephyrian Command," his communications officer reported. "Put it through. All civilian vessels are ordered to maintain minimum 5 million kilometer distance from unknown contact. Military vessels are taking position around the intruder." Veltar watched as sleek Zephyrian battleships moved into formation. Each ship was half a kilometer long and heavily armed. They looked like insects compared to the human vessel. 27 military ships now in position, his first officer reported. They're forming an encirclement pattern. AD. The human ship remained motionless. Its automated message continued broadcasting every few minutes. No other communication came from it. What are they waiting for? Veltar wondered aloud. Inside the Titan's hammer, Admiral Kim Jae-won stood on the bridge, watching the alien ships position themselves around his vessel. His crew worked quietly at their stations. No one seemed worried about being surrounded. "Admiral, receiving multiple hail attempts from the alien vessels," his communications officer reported. "Standard diplomatic frequencies. Continue standard automated response only," Kim replied calmly. "We wait." "Sir, what exactly are we waiting for?" Kim looked at the tactical display showing alien ship positions. For them to remember their manners. Lieutenant Chen worked at the sensor station. "Admiral, long-range sensors show more alien ships approaching. Estimate 40 vessels total. Within 6 hours. Good. The more witnesses, the better." The bridge crew exchanged glances. Their admiral seemed completely unconcerned about being outnumbered 40-1. Back on Zephyria Prime, the Galactic Council continued their emergency session. Arguments filled the chamber as different species proposed different responses. "We should demand they leave immediately," insisted the Mantis representative. "What if they refuse?" asked another delegate. "Then we force them to leave." Elder Voss shook his head slowly. "You assume we have that capability. One ship against our entire combined fleet? Of course we can force them to leave. Can we?" Voss asked quietly. "Look at the sensor data again. Really look at it." The delegates studied their screens. The human ship's energy readings showed power levels that exceeded entire space stations. Its weapons, signatures, suggested technology far beyond anything in their fleets. "They've just been sitting there," this pointed out. "No hostile actions, no demands, just waiting." Waiting for what? Nobody answered because nobody knew. In space, the standoff continued. The human ship hung motionless, while alien vessels surrounded it at respectful distance. Both sides waited for the other to make the first move. Captain Veltar wondered if he was watching the beginning of a war or something else entirely. The massive human ship looked capable of destroying every vessel around it without effort. Yet, it simply waited. What did the humans want? Why had they returned after 200 years of silence? And why bring such an enormous warship? 200 years earlier, Ambassador Chen Su-jin had stood before the Galactic Council with hope in her heart. She represented Earth, humanity's first contact with the galaxy beyond their solar system. The chamber had been magnificent then, filled with beings from dozens of worlds. "Honorable delegates," Chen had said, "humanity requests consideration for membership in the Galactic Council." The response had been immediate laughter from several species. Elder Voss, younger then, but still ancient, had spoken for the assembly. "Your species originates from what our scientists classify as a death world. Your technology is primitive. Your social development is lacking. Perhaps in a few thousand years, you might qualify for associate status." Chen had maintained her dignity despite the humiliation. "We offer our perspective and our commitment to galactic peace. What could a species that still uses chemical propulsion possibly offer?" Ambassador Kor had asked with amusement. Chen had returned to Earth with the Council's rejection. Humanity's first attempt at galactic citizenship had ended in embarrassment and dismissal. Now, in the present, Ambassador Thys accessed those old records as the Council debated their response to the human warship. The files painted humans as barely evolved primitives from a hostile world where everything tried to kill them. According to these reports, she announced to the Assembly, humans averaged only 70 years of lifespan. Their world had extreme weather, dangerous animals, and toxic plants. Most galactic species couldn't survive there for a single day. Primitive weapons, too, added another delegate. Projectile firearms, chemical explosives, nothing approaching energy weapons. Their largest ships were less than a kilometer long, Core remembered, barely capable of reaching their own moon reliably. Elder Voss listened to the discussion with growing concern. These records are 2 centuries old. What have the humans been doing during their isolation? The question hung in the air unanswered. Intelligence Officer Rix entered the chamber, carrying urgent reports. Honorable delegates, our long-range monitoring stations have been tracking human activity for the past 50 years. What activity? Thys demanded. Initially, nothing. Complete radio silence from Earth's solar system. But 25 years ago, our outer sensors began detecting strange energy signatures. What kind of signatures? Unknown. Beyond our technology to analyze properly. Whatever the humans developed, it doesn't match any known physics. The delegates exchanged worried glances. Continue, Elder Voss ordered. 15 years ago, massive artificial objects began moving through space near Earth. Our best estimates suggest construction projects on a scale we've never seen before. How massive? Rix consulted his tablet. The objects appeared to be between 10 and 20 kilometers in length. Silence filled the chamber. The human ship currently sitting in Zephyrian space was exactly that size. There's more, Rix continued. 5 years ago, our monitoring equipment detected what appeared to be faster than light testing. The humans developed their own jump drive technology. Impossible, Ambassador Core snapped. Jump drive physics requires advanced mathematics and exotic matter manipulation. Primitive species cannot master such technology. Perhaps they're no longer primitive, Elder Voss suggested quietly. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, military forces continued gathering around the human warship. Admiral Kim Jae-won reviewed status reports from his bridge crew. Admiral, 67 alien vessels now in sensor range, Lieutenant Park reported. They're maintaining 5 million kilometers distance as ordered. Good. They're learning patience. Sir, some of their ship classes show significant weapon capability if they coordinate an attack. Kim smiled slightly. They won't attack. They're curious. Not stupid. Communications Officer Chen looked up from her station. Admiral, receiving diplomatic transmission from the Galactic Council. They're demanding we identify ourselves and state our intentions. Our intentions are exactly what we stated when we left 200 years ago, Kim replied. We seek our place in the galaxy. Should I transmit that response? Not yet. Let them worry a bit longer. On the bridge of his merchant vessel, Captain Veltar watched more ships arrive. The gathering fleet now included vessels from a dozen different species. Heavy cruisers, battleships, and even a massive Aquarian dreadnought took positions around the human ship. They're building quite a welcoming committee, his first officer observed. More like an execution squad, Veltar muttered. Look at the weapons those ships are carrying. The alien fleet represented the combined military might of several galactic civilizations. Their ships carried energy cannons, missile systems, and defensive shields that could withstand tremendous punishment. Together, they could destroy entire planetary surfaces. The human ship remained completely still, seemingly unconcerned by the growing threat around it. Sir, his communications officer called, picking up encrypted military transmissions between the fleet ships. Can you decode them? Some of it, They're discussing attack patterns and target priorities. Veltar felt a chill run through his exoskeleton. He was about to witness either first contact or the largest military engagement in recent galactic history. Back on Zephyria Prime, the council session grew more heated by the hour. "We must act decisively," insisted the Mantis representative. "This human ship represents a clear threat to galactic security." "Based on what evidence?" This asked. "They haven't fired a shot or made a single threat. Their mere presence is a threat. Look at that ship's size and power readings." Elder Voss stood slowly. "I propose a different approach. Send a formal diplomatic mission to the human vessel." "And if they refuse to receive our diplomats?" Kor asked. "Then we'll know their true intentions." The debate continued as reports arrived from the military fleet surrounding the human ship. Ship commanders reported stable positions and no hostile actions from the human vessel. "They're just sitting there," one admiral reported. "Like they're waiting for something." "Waiting for what?" "Unknown, but their ship shows no signs of preparing for combat. No raised shields, no charging weapons." This information confused the council delegates even more. Military vessels typically showed some defensive preparations when surrounded by potential enemies. The human ship seemed completely relaxed. Admiral Kim received the same reports about alien fleet positions. His tactical officer provided regular updates on enemy ship capabilities and positions. "Admiral, the alien fleet could deliver significant damage if they coordinate properly," the tactical officer reported. "Could they destroy us?" Kim asked calmly. "No, sir. Our defensive systems could handle their combined firepower indefinitely. And our weapons? We could disable their entire fleet within 10 minutes without causing casualties." Kim nodded. "Continue monitoring. Do not raise shields or power weapons. We want them comfortable." "Sir, may I ask why we're allowing them to surround us?" "Because they need to understand something about humanity before we begin negotiations." "What do they need to understand?" Kim looked at the tactical display showing dozens of alien ships in attack positions around his vessel. "That we came here by choice, not because we had to." The standoff continued as both sides waited for the other to make the first move. The human ship remained motionless, while alien military forces debated their next action. Captain Veltar wondered if anyone really understood what was happening. The humans had returned after 2 centuries of silence, with a ship that dwarfed anything in the galaxy. They could have attacked immediately, yet they simply waited. What did they want? What had humanity become during their long absence from galactic civilization? The ultimatum arrived at the human warship exactly 48 hours after the standoff began. Ambassador Thys had worked with Elder Voss to craft careful diplomatic language, but the message's meaning was clear. "Unknown human vessel, this is the Galactic Council speaking through official diplomatic channels. You have entered sovereign Zephyrian space without permission. You will identify yourself, state your intentions, and submit to council authority, or face consequences." On the bridge of Titan's Hammer, Admiral Kim read the message with amusement. "They're demanding we submit to their authority?" "Manning." "Yes, sir." "Communications," Officer Chen replied. "Standard diplomatic protocol requires response within 6 hours." Kim looked at his watch. "Send reply in exactly 5 hours and 59 minutes. What should the message say?" "Tell them. Demonstration requested?" Chen blinked in surprise. "Sir?" "Exactly those words, nothing more." When the human response reached the Galactic Council, it created immediate chaos in the chamber. Delegates argued loudly about the message's meaning. "It's obviously a threat," Ambassador Kor insisted. "They're offering to demonstrate their weapons." "Or," Thys countered, "they're asking if we want to see what they're capable of." Elder Voss studied the message carefully. "There's another possibility. They might be offering to demonstrate their peaceful intentions." "How do we respond?" asked the Mantis representative. "We send an inspection team," Voss decided. "A small diplomatic vessel with scientific equipment. If they allow us aboard, we learn what they really want. 2 hours later, the Council ship Peaceful Dawn approached the human warship. Captain Zell commanded the small diplomatic vessel carrying 5 Council representatives from different species. Human vessel Titan's Hammer, this is Galactic Council ship Peaceful Dawn, requesting permission to board for diplomatic inspection, Zell transmitted. The response came immediately. Permission granted. Docking Bay 7 is prepared for your arrival. Welcome aboard. The politeness surprised everyone. Threatening warships didn't usually welcome inspections. Docking Bay 7 could have held Zell's entire ship 3 times over. As the diplomatic team stepped through the airlock, they found themselves in a space larger than many buildings. Human crew members waited to greet them, wearing clean uniforms and showing no signs of hostility. "Welcome to Titan's Hammer," said a young woman with lieutenant stripes. "I'm Lieutenant Park. Admiral Kim is waiting for you in the main conference room." The delegates followed Park through corridors that stretched beyond sight in both directions. Everything was spotlessly clean and efficiently organized. The artificial gravity felt exactly like planetary standard, something their own ships struggled to achieve perfectly. "How many crew members serve on this ship?" Ambassador Thiss asked. 12,000, Park replied casually. Thiss exchanged glances with her fellow delegates. That was larger than the population of some entire Council member worlds. The conference room overlooked the ship's main hangar bay through massive windows. The delegates stared in shock at what they saw below. Hundreds of smaller craft filled the space, fighters, shuttles, and landing craft that individually matched the size of Council patrol ships. Admiral Kim entered the room carrying a simple tablet computer. He was a middle-aged human with graying hair and calm eyes. His uniform bore no decorations except his rank insignia. "Welcome to Titan's Hammer," Kim said politely. "I'm Admiral Kim J1. Please, sit comfortably." The delegates took seats around a conference table. Kim sat across from them, completely relaxed. "Admiral Kim," this began, "the Galactic Council requires explanation for your presence in our space." "Our space?" Kim asked gently. "I was under the impression this was neutral territory. Zephyrian space is under Council protection." Kim nodded. "I see. And who protects the Council?" The question hung in the air uncomfortably. "Admiral," Ambassador Kor interrupted, "your ship represents a significant military presence. The Council must know your intentions." "Our intentions are the same as they were 2 centuries ago," Kim replied. "We seek our place in galactic civilization." Number. "This seems an unusual way to request diplomatic recognition," Thiss observed. Kim smiled slightly. "Perhaps. But circumstances have changed since our last diplomatic contact." "What circumstances?" Kim activated his tablet. The conference room's main screen showed a star map of the galaxy. Red markers appeared at dozens of locations around the outer rim. These represent monitoring stations humanity has maintained for the past 50 years. Kim explained. "We've been watching for something the Council apparently hasn't noticed." "What kind of something?" Kim touched his tablet again. The star map expanded to show space beyond the galactic rim. New markers appeared in deep space, colored purple, and moving slowly toward the galaxy. "An invasion fleet," Kim said simply. "Extragalactic origin. Estimated arrival time. 18 months. The delegates stared at the display in shock. "Impossible," Kor snapped. "Our deep space sensors would have detected any such threat." "Your sensors have a range of approximately 40 light-years," Kim replied. "Ours reach considerably farther." "How much farther?" "Far enough." Kim changed the display to show detailed images of the approaching ships. They were massive, organic-looking vessels, unlike anything in Council databases. "We've been tracking this fleet for 27 years, Kim continued. "Their technology appears biological rather than mechanical. Their ships regenerate damage and adapt to weapons used against them. Why should we believe you? This demanded. Instead of answering, Kim spoke into his communication device. Bridge. Prepare weapons demonstration. Target the asteroid field at coordinates 7, 7, Alpha. Admiral, This said urgently. The Council doesn't require proof of your weapons capability. I think you do, Kim replied kindly. Through the conference room windows, the delegates watched the ship's main cannon rotate toward the distant asteroid field. Energy built visibly along the weapon's length, creating a glow that illuminated space around the ship. Admiral, please reconsider, Kor pleaded. This display is unnecessary. The cannon fired. A beam of pure energy lanced across space toward the asteroid field. When it struck, the entire field simply vanished. Hundreds of rocky bodies, some larger than small moons, converted instantly to dispersing gas and particles. The delegates sat in stunned silence. Our standard anti-ship weapon, Kim explained calmly. We have 11 others like it on this ship alone. 11 others, This whispered, plus secondary weapons, defensive systems, and support craft. Kim deactivated the display. Titan's Hammer is one of 12 such vessels humanity has constructed during our isolation. 12 ships like this, Kor said weakly. Different designs, similar capabilities. Kim leaned forward. The invasion fleet approaching your galaxy consists of approximately 400 vessels. Council military forces would face complete destruction within days of first contact. The conference room fell silent, except for the quiet hum of ship systems. What do you want from us? This asked finally. Nothing, Kim replied. We're not here to make demands or claim territory. We're here because this galaxy is about to need defending. And we remember our former neighbors fondly. Despite past disagreements, you're offering to help defend the galaxy? We're offering to fight beside you as equals. The choice of accepting that offer belongs to the Council. Ambassador Kor studied Kim's face carefully. And if the Council refuses your offer? Kim shrugged. Then we'll defend what we can and evacuate whoever will come with us. But many worlds will fall that could have been saved. The delegates looked at each other uncertainly. Everything they thought they knew about humans had changed in the past hour. Admiral, Tis said slowly, the Council will need time to consider your information and proposal. Of course. We'll wait in neutral space for your decision. Kim stood politely. Take all the time you need. The invasion fleet won't arrive for another 18 months. As the delegates prepared to leave, This had one final question. Admiral, why didn't humanity make contact earlier? Why wait until now to warn us about this threat? Kim looked out at the stars beyond the ship's windows. Because 200 years ago, the Council made it clear that humanity had nothing to offer galactic civilization. We wanted to make sure that was no longer true. The Galactic Council chamber had never seen such chaos. For 3 days, representatives argued about the human revelation, while intelligence officers worked frantically to verify Admiral Kim's claims about the approaching invasion. Elder Voss called for order, as delegates shouted over each other. The data has been confirmed, he announced. Our deep space monitoring stations have detected the invasion fleet exactly where the humans predicted. The shouting stopped. Reality was setting in. 400 ships minimum, Intelligence Officer Rix reported. Moving at speeds our fastest vessels cannot match. Estimated arrival, 17 months, 2 weeks. Ambassador This stood at her speaking platform. The humans are offering military alliance against this threat. We must vote on accepting their proposal. Alliance? Ambassador Kor clicked his mandibles angrily. They're dictating terms to us. One human ship destroys our asteroid field, and suddenly we're supposed to accept them as equals? What alternative do you suggest? This asked. We build our own defenses, expand our military production. The galaxy doesn't need human rescue. Elder Voss accessed production reports on his tablet. Current Council. Military forces. Approximately 2,000 active ships across all member species. Time required to build effective fleet against 400 advanced vessels. Minimum 8 years. We have less than 2 years, this pointed out. Then we accelerate production, Core insisted. With what resources? Our military budgets are already strained, maintaining current forces. The argument continued as more reports arrived from ships monitoring the human vessel. Titan's hammer remained motionless in neutral space, making no demands and issuing no threats. Admiral Kim had simply returned to his ship and waited for the Council's decision. On his merchant vessel, Captain Veltar listened to public broadcasts about the Council debates. His crew gathered around the communications station, trying to understand what was happening to their galaxy. The humans say invasion fleet will arrive soon, his first officer summarized. Council doesn't know if humans telling truth or making excuses for military buildup. What do you think, Captain? Asked his communications officer. Veltar considered the question. He had seen the human ship destroy an entire asteroid field with casual ease. If humans wanted to conquer the galaxy, they probably could do it already. I think, Veltar said slowly, that species, capable of building ships like that one, don't need excuses for anything they want to do. Meanwhile, Admiral Kim received regular updates about Council proceedings from his intelligence staff. Lieutenant Chen provided analysis of galactic political dynamics. Admiral, the Mantis Collective and 3 other species are pushing for military buildup instead of alliance with us, she reported. Expected, Kim replied. Pride is difficult to swallow, especially for species that considered us primitive. The Aquarians and Zephyrians seem more open to cooperation. Also expected, they've had more contact with species from dangerous worlds. Communications Officer Park looked up from her station. Admiral, receiving priority transmission from Earth Command. Put it through. Admiral Sarah Chen appeared on the main screen. She commanded Earth's defense fleet from Luna Station, humanity's primary military headquarters. J1, situation report, she requested. Galactic Council is debating our alliance proposal, Kim replied. Some resistance from species that haven't fully grasped the threat level. Any sign of the invasion fleet? Long-range sensors confirm timeline. 17 months until first contact. Sarah nodded grimly. Construction update. Pacific Titan completed trials yesterday. Arctic Thunder begins final testing next week. We'll have 8 operational vessels within 6 months. Rules of engagement if Council rejects alliance? Defend human colonies and any allies who request assistance. Don't let pride cost innocent lives. The transmission ended, leaving Kim to contemplate the galaxy's future. Humanity had spent 2 centuries preparing for exactly this scenario. A threat too large for any single species to face alone. Back in the Council chamber, new information was creating fresh arguments. Intelligence reports showed human activity throughout supposedly empty space regions. Monitoring stations on 17 worlds, Rix announced. Scientific research facilities on 12 more. The humans have been secretly operating across the galaxy for decades. Without Council permission, Core pointed out angrily. In neutral territory, this corrected. They violated no laws. They've been spying on us. They've been watching for threats we couldn't detect. Elder Voss requested detailed reports from Outer Rim colonies. What he learned surprised everyone. Interesting data, Voss announced to the assembly. Outer Rim colonies report significant decrease in pirate attacks over the past 10 years. Unexplained disappearances of criminal fleets that threatened remote settlements. What does that mean? Asked the Mantis representative. It means the humans have been protecting Council worlds without authorization or recognition. The chamber fell silent as delegates absorbed this information. They've been helping us, Thys said slowly, while we debated whether they deserved basic diplomatic recognition. More reports arrived throughout the day. Colony worlds that had faced desperate situations suddenly found their attackers vanishing. Ships reported mysterious rescue operations during dangerous emergencies. Medical supplies appeared on worlds facing disease outbreaks, with no explanation of their origin. The humans have been acting as unofficial galactic protectors for years, Rix concluded. Ambassador Kor was not convinced. Or they're creating evidence to support their current agenda. Creating evidence across dozens of worlds over multiple years? This asked. That would require massive resources and perfect coordination, which they apparently possess. Elder Voss stood for final remarks before the vote. Fellow delegates, we face a simple choice. Accept human alliance and benefit from their advanced technology and experience, or reject their offer and face the invasion alone. What guarantee do we have that humans won't become conquerors after helping us? Kor demanded. What guarantee do we have that our worlds will survive without their help? The vote took place in traditional council fashion. Each species cast one ballot regardless of size or military contribution. Results would be announced immediately. Admiral Kim received the outcome 30 minutes later. Lieutenant Chen delivered the news with mixed emotions. Admiral, council vote results. 18 species in favor of alliance. 12 opposed. 3 abstentions. Alliance approved then. Yes, sir, but barely. Many species remain suspicious of our motives. Kim nodded thoughtfully. Suspicion is natural. Trust must be earned. How do we earn their trust? By keeping our promises and respecting their independence. Communications from the council arrived shortly afterward. Ambassador Thys delivered the official message with formal diplomatic language. But her personal relief was obvious. Admiral Kim, the Galactic Council accepts humanity's proposal for military alliance against the approaching threat. We request immediate coordination meeting to discuss combined defense strategies. Kim smiled slightly. Tell Ambassador Thys that humanity accepts the Council's alliance. We'll establish joint command structure within 1 week. And our additional ships? Begin deployment to strategic positions. Time to show our new allies that humanity keeps its word. As news of the alliance spread across the galaxy, reactions varied wildly. Some worlds celebrated the prospect of powerful protection. Others worried about human dominance in galactic affairs. Captain Veltar listened to the broadcasts with interest. The galaxy was about to change dramatically, and he wondered if anyone really understood what was coming. The humans had returned after 2 centuries of silence. Not as conquerors, but as protectors. They offered technology and military might, without demanding tribute or territory. What kind of species evolved that way? What had humanity become during their long isolation from galactic civilization? The invasion began 3 weeks early. Emergency alarms screamed across Outer Rim Station 12 as sensor operators detected massive energy signatures dropping out of hyperspace. Station Commander Velkos watched her screens fill with contacts that matched no known ship designs. 27 unknown vessels appearing at grid 779, her tactical officer reported. Configuration biological. Technology unknown. The alien ships looked like enormous sea creatures swimming through space. Their hulls pulsed with internal light and extended tentacle-like appendages that crackled with energy. Send emergency broadcasts to all Council fleets, Velkos ordered. We are under attack by unknown hostile force. The station's defensive systems fired first. Energy beams that could punch through asteroid fields struck the alien ships and simply absorbed into their hulls. The biological vessels seemed to drink the energy and grow brighter. Our weapons are feeding them, Velkos whispered in horror. 3 Council patrol ships responded to the emergency call. The CSF Defender, CSF Resolute, and CSF Guardian were fast attack vessels armed with the latest Council weapons technology. They arrived to find Outer Rim Station 12 already under assault. Unknown ships. This is Captain Thar of the CSF Defender, the patrol leader broadcast. You are in violation of galactic space. Withdraw immediately or face consequences. The alien vessels responded by releasing swarms of smaller organisms that moved like schools of fish through space. These creatures attached themselves to the Council ships and began dissolving their hulls with acid secretions. "Mayday, Mayday," Captain Thar transmitted. "Conventional weapons ineffective. Hull breaching on all ships. Request immediate assistance." 4 hours later, Admiral Kim received the emergency transmissions aboard Titan's Hammer. His bridge crew worked frantically to analyze the attack data. "Admiral, 3 Council ships destroyed, Outer Rim Station 12 evacuated before destruction," Lieutenant Chen reported. "The invasion has begun. How many enemy vessels confirmed?" 27, at the initial contact point. Long-range sensors detect additional groups emerging from hyperspace at 12 locations. Kim studied the tactical display showing alien ship positions. The invasion fleet was probing multiple systems simultaneously, testing Council defenses. Estimated total enemy force? Approximately 120 vessels in the first wave. And Council response? Admiral Kor is mobilizing the combined fleet. All available ships ordered to rally points throughout the Outer Rim. Kim nodded grimly. "Begin moving Titan's Hammer toward the nearest attack site. Alert our other ships to begin deployment." "Sir, Admiral Chen is requesting permission to join the battle." "Granted. Tell Sarah to coordinate with Pacific Titan and Arctic Thunder. Time to see what we learned about these creatures." The first major engagement occurred at Zephyrian Colony Beta, a mining world with 50,000 inhabitants. 8 alien ships emerged from hyperspace and immediately began attacking the orbital facilities. Colonel Rix commanded the colony's defense force from the orbital station. His 12 patrol boats and 2 escort frigates represented typical Council military technology. "All ships, concentrate fire on lead enemy vessel," Rix ordered. The Council ships fired coordinated volleys at the largest alien creature. Their energy beams struck its hull and disappeared into pulsing organic tissue. The alien ship continued its attack, as if nothing had happened. "No effect," reported Frigate Captain Thys, switching to kinetic projectiles. Physical ammunition produced slightly better results. Explosive shells created temporary wounds in the alien hulls, but the damage healed within minutes. "Sir, enemy vessels are releasing small attack organisms," a patrol boat captain warned. Swarms of biological creatures flowed from the alien ships like blood from open wounds. They attached to Council vessels and began the dissolving process that had destroyed the Outer Rim Station defenses. "All ships, emergency retreat," Rix commanded. "Fall back to minimum safe distance." As the Council ships withdrew, a new contact appeared on their sensors. Something massive was approaching at incredible speed. "Unknown ship dropping out of hyperspace," the sensor operator announced. "Configuration: it's human." Titan's Hammer materialized in space between the retreating Council ships and the alien attackers. The massive human warship dwarfed everything else in the system. "Council vessels, this is Admiral Kim," came the calm voice over emergency frequencies. "Withdraw to safe distance. We'll handle this." "Admiral Kim, you're outnumbered 8-1, Colonel Rix protested. "Numbers aren't everything." Titan's Hammer opened fire with weapons the Council had never seen before. Instead of energy beams, the human ship launched projectiles that seemed to tear holes in space itself. When they struck the alien vessels, entire sections of biological hull simply ceased to exist. The alien ships reacted by swarming toward the human vessel, extending their tentacle weapons to drain its energy. But Titan's Hammer's shields operated on principles that confused the biological attackers. The tentacles passed through the defensive field without making contact. "Gravitational displacement shielding," Lieutenant Park explained to the fascinated Council observers, "creates spatial distortion around our hull. Physical attacks pass through empty space." The battle lasted 18 minutes. One by one, the alien vessels died, as human weapons systematically destroyed their biological systems. The swarms of smaller organisms found they couldn't penetrate human defensive technology. When the fighting ended, 8 alien ships floated dead in space, while Titan's Hammer remained undamaged. Colony Beta, this is Admiral Kim. Area secure. You may resume normal operations. Colonel Ricks stared at his tactical display in amazement. Admiral, how did you know their weapons would be ineffective against your shields? We've been studying these creatures for 27 years, Kim replied. Today was our first chance to test our theories. Similar battles occurred throughout the Outer Rim as more human ships arrived. Pacific Titan destroyed 11 alien vessels while protecting Aquarian trade routes. Arctic Thunder coordinated with Council forces to evacuate civilian populations from threatened worlds. The alien invasion fleet adapted quickly to human tactics. Larger creatures appeared that seemed immune to the spatial distortion weapons. Biological technology evolved in real time to counter human defenses. They're learning from each engagement, Admiral Chen reported during a joint command conference. Standard biological adaptation, but accelerated beyond normal evolutionary timescales. Recommendations? Asked Admiral Kim. Combined tactics. Human technology provides initial advantage, but we need Council ships to exploit weaknesses we create. The new strategy proved effective. Human ships engaged alien vessels directly, while Council forces struck at exposed biological systems. Together, the Allied fleet began winning consistent victories. Captain Veltar participated in the Battle of Sector 9, where his merchant ship helped evacuate civilians while human and Council military forces fought overhead. He watched Titan's hammer coordinate with 30 Council ships to destroy a massive alien creature the size of a small moon. Look at them work together, his first officer marveled. Humans creating openings, Council ships exploiting them. Like they've been planning this cooperation for years, Veltar agreed. After 6 months of fighting, the invasion was contained. The alien fleet had lost nearly 200 ships, while human and Council forces had suffered manageable casualties. The biological attackers began withdrawing to deep space. In the aftermath, Ambassador Thys met with Admiral Kim aboard Titan's hammer to discuss the galaxy's future. Admiral, the Council wishes to formalize our military alliance, she announced. We're prepared to offer humanity full membership status and joint command authority over galactic defense forces. Kim considered the offer carefully. Full membership with equal voting rights? Yes. Joint command, not human command? Correct. Partnership, not dominance. Kim smiled. Then humanity accepts. We'll establish permanent defense coordination and continue protecting all galactic civilization together. Thys felt relief wash over her. The Council also wishes to formally apologize for our previous treatment of humanity. We were wrong to dismiss your species. No apology needed, Kim replied kindly. Everyone learns and grows. What matters is what we build together going forward. Years later, Captain Veltar would tell his grandchildren about the day the humans returned to save the galaxy. Children throughout Council space learned about Admiral Kim and the Titan's hammer in their history lessons. But the stories always ended the same way. Not with human conquest or domination, but with the quiet words Admiral Kim spoke when offered galactic leadership. We came to fight beside you as equals, not as your saviors or your subjects. Humanity had earned their place in galactic civilization, not through force or demands, but through sacrifice and service. They had returned home as protectors, and the galaxy was grateful to have them back.